One of the most interesting parts of my job is I see really bright, successful corporate people with their masks off. They often open up and share their inner vulnerabilities, what their inner monologues might be saying, that you may never guess were you sitting next to that really smart, confident person, maybe even one of your leaders or managers at work. We're all human. None of us escape the stresses of stress or the debilitating impact that fear can have, whether it's catastrophizing about what a client may think of us, mind reading what a boss may think of us, thinking in black and white ways, I'm all good or all bad, maybe noticing that we look for the negative in situations. Let's say there's one imperfection in a piece of work and we think that it was terrible when actually 95% may well have been rather brilliant. So none of us are exempt from those inner stresses, and we all have inner saboteurs that rear their ugly heads. A few common ones might be the stickler, so that's being a perfectionist. Another one might be being hypervigilant, scanning for danger, which is great if you're a caveman, and it can be less helpful if you're not, especially if the stress you feel is disproportionate to the threat. Another common one amongst very bright people is the hyperachiever, that nasty saboteur, which tells you that you're only a success if you can see tangible outcomes, like having a high salary, for example, or a really sexy job title, or being promoted, and anything less than that is not success. Very sort of tough cross to bear. So a couple of really reassuring reminders here. Firstly, the brain is neuroplastic, which basically means the brain can change. So while stress can feel incredibly real and sometimes really quite debilitating, we can train our brains with positive language and positive messaging to shift those neural pathways. And when we can catch those stressful thoughts before they hijack us and our nervous systems, we can shift the thoughts that we're feeding ourselves. And if we can shift our thoughts, that changes the way we feel and the way that we behave. So we're actually much more in control of the monkey mind, the inner chimp, than we might think. So one top tip here, if you're feeling overwhelmed with stress, which we all can at times, because of that inner chimp that frankly can behave extremely badly when not brought into check. One way of handling that inner chimp and popping him on a leash, really, when you notice stress arising, maybe you're engaging with some of those cognitive distortions, catastrophizing, black and white thinking, mind reading what others think of you, or maybe you're noticing the inner saboteurs popping up. That's not perfect. It was awful. I can't see a tangible outcome here that illustrates success. I failed. Or maybe being really hypervigilant or judging yourself too harshly. Lean into the antidote. Now, the antidote is your inner sage, or your higher self, if you like. So if you're ever feeling stressed, step back and ask yourself, what would my higher self advise me right now? Or what would my inner sage advise me right now? It's often a much more compassionate, wiser, more measured voice that will just bring you into balance and take the sting out of that stress. So next time you feel really stressed, just notice those thoughts. It all starts with awareness. And then gently step back and ask yourself, what would my higher self or my inner sage advise right now? And see how you feel.